Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. Today we are back with our second NBA mock draft. Today we're doing the full lottery mock draft. I've started to scout a lot of these overseas players, and this year's draft class is very interesting. I mean, there's a ton of overseas prospects, G League Ignite guys that, aren't taking the traditional college route that, it's loaded. You talk about Raziker, Mateus Buzelis, Nikola Topic, I don't know how to say it. Ron Holland, obviously, in the G League Ignite. Alex Sarr, overseas in Australia. But then, there's the typical one-and-done prospects with Cody Williams, Jacoby Walter. And then I think with Jaime Jaquez Jr. and his success with the Miami Heat, I think we're going to start to see more and more 3-4-year college guys being drafted, especially on the win-now teams, than, some project picks. And I think the further you get in the first round, the more 4-year guys there's going to be, or if there's a team, like maybe the Thunder, that's looking to really take the next step. They're already the first seed in the West, but, to help their team out, you could see, maybe like a Dalton Connect, is that how you say it? Or a Kevin McCullough Jr. there in the first round, or in the lottery even. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started here, and, the first overall pick, kind of consensus, is going to be Alex Sarr to the Detroit Pistons. Really, he's the best prospect in this draft, in my opinion. You look at the Pistons' salary cap future. Alec Burks probably going after this year. Wiseman definitely going after this year. Joe Harris probably going after this year. We'll see what they do with Bogdanovich at the trade deadline. But you look at their young core. They got Azar Thompson. They got Jaden Ivey. They got Jalen Duren. So yes, they have some centers on the squad with Isaiah Stewart as well. But I think Alex Sarr, he's kind of the consensus number one at this point. He can do a little bit of everything, and he's 7'1". So that's the way the NBA is going these days. So yeah, Alex Sarr, number one overall pick to Detroit. Okay, so next up we have the Washington Wizards, and everybody in Washington except for Bilal Coulibaly is on the trade block, as they probably should. This is a team that they're looking at a full-time, full-scale rebuild that honestly has gone nowhere fast with Kuzma or Jordan Poole. And given that both of these guys are on long-term contracts, it's going to be interesting to see what they can pull out of their hats. But, they could go with like a Zachary Rizachet. I just watched a YouTube video on it. I did figure out how to say it. Or Topic here. Either one of those guys could be interesting picks. Same with like Buzelis or Ron Holland. But I think the best player they could take on the board right now is Cody Williams, a 6'8" wing that can come in and kind of reset their franchise. 15 points a game, 4 rebounds right now at Colorado, and he's being very efficient. He's probably the best freshman in the country in terms of college basketball. So that's who we're going to have the Washington Wizards go out and select. 6'8", only 180 pounds, needs to put some weight on those bones, but you go watch some clips, and I'll show some of Cody Williams. He's looking like a stud. Next up, we got the San Antonio Spurs, and this could potentially be the perfect fit for both Topic and Wembanyama, because the Spurs desperately need playmaking, and Topic is a 6'7" point guard with elite vision, very much pass first. But he's got great height. He's got great length. He can guard a little bit. He's like I said, average defender. Not really a fantastic scorer, but what makes him great is the way that he makes his teammates better. He's a pure point guard, and I think I couldn't find anything better for the Spurs to do. That right now what they're trying to do is maximize their talent that they have around Victor Wembanyama to help maximize what they can get out of Victor Wembanyama himself. So no more Jeremy Sohan at point guard. Nikola Topic out of somewhere in Europe. I need to do a little bit better research there. But he's a pure point guard, can really pass, and I'm going to love that alongside Victor Wembanyama if I am a Spurs fan. Now at number 4, got the Charlotte Hornets. And I think what we need is another knockdown shooter. A guy that can really shoot the ball, can really score it. Hayward and Kyle Lowry, they're gone, so that frees up like $60 million this offseason off the books, which then makes P.J. Washington our highest paid player. Brandon Miller is a star. If we can keep LaMelo, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, along with Mark Williams long term, perfect. Would also like to keep Nick Richards because he gives us good value with that contract. Cody Martin wouldn't mind keeping either. He gives us good value with his contract as well. PJ is really the only piece of our young core that I could see us trading this offseason. But, we just need to add depth, and we need, one more guy for the starting lineup, so it can be LaMelo. I think it's going to be Jacoby Walter, and then Brandon Miller with Miles and Mark Williams. And that's a great starting lineup right there. So that's why I'm taking Jacoby Walter here from Baylor. Didn't even say. But he is a great three-point shooter. First game against Auburn, he went off. So yeah, Jacoby Walter is going to the Charlotte Hornets. All right, so with the 5th overall pick here, we have the Portland Trailblazers on the board. And what they need is wings. So they got Reza Shea here. Reza Shea. I don't have the good French accent. Sorry, guys. We got Ron Holland as well. Rob Dillingham, who has really flown up my draft board as of late. Also, you got these seniors here. Connect's really only downfall is his age. Other than that, he really reminds me of like a Grayson Allen type guy who is currently leading the league in three-point percentage at like 49%. McCullough's not bad either. And yeah, I've got about 20 guys on this big board. So with the 5th overall pick, we have the Blazers here. They got obviously Grant and Ayton tied up on big long-term contracts. They also have Anthony Simons. Rob Williams is not on a terrible deal. I probably, would guess Matisse Thybulle is gone at the deadline. Maybe they keep him around though. But they're really building around Scoot, Shaedon Sharpe, and Anthony Simons. So what do they need? Some wing help, power forward, small forward type guy. So with this pick here, I'm going to have them go Ron Holland, who is exactly that. As you can see here, he can go off. Double-double waiting to happen. And he plays a little bit of point guard, too, for the G League Ignite. However, he won't be needed to do that. He's just going to be straight up a defender and can get downhill. They will need to work on his three-point jump shot, but I like Ron Holland here to the Portland Trailblazers. Now we have the Toronto Raptors on the clock. And this is one of probably my more favorite teams in the league right now because of the rebuild they got going on with Barrett. I think they're doing it phenomenally because they got Barrett, they got Scotty Barnes, and then they got, where's he at? Emmanuel Quickley. So between those three guys, they got a great core going forward. They also have like veterans like Bruce Brown. We'll see if Schroeder sticks around or Gary Trent Jr. past the deadline. But for them, honestly, they probably need some wing help. They got Barrett, they got Scotty Barnes, maybe another center. But honestly, I think they swing for the fences here. I think they take Zachary Reza Shea. I think it's Reza Shea. And because he's 6'10", he can really shoot the ball off the catch and shoot. And he's shown a lot of flashes as a guy that can get to the rim, that can slash very well. So, hey, I'm going to have the Raptors swing for the fences, go for the home run pick, and get Reza Shea here with the 6th overall pick. Now at 7, we have the Memphis Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies, they're in an interesting spot because, yes, they have their franchise player. Yes, they have their number 2 franchise player. We don't know about Steven Adams, his long-term health. But they have a good squad. They're just kind of like the Hornets, honestly. They've been injured. Obviously, the Hornets are not as good as them. But I think they need win-now type players. I don't think they need to take a shot on like a Rob Dillingham, Buzelis, Stephon Castle, any of those guys. I think they take Dalton Knecht here. I think that's how you say his name, right? But anyways, I think you take him here because he gives you another wing scorer, another really good shooter alongside Luke Kennard. And yes, the athleticism is not there, but you have Jaren and Marcus Smart, 2 of the better defenders in the league. So, you could go like a Ryan Dunn, but I don't think you spend a 7 overall pick on Ryan Dunn. Maybe Rob Dillingham, but I like Dalton Knecht a lot. He's averaging 20 points per game for Tennessee. He put up 37 on one of the best teams in the country in North Carolina. So, yeah, Dalton Knecht, I like him a lot. 6'6" wing. Yes, he's 22 years old, but hey, kind of like with Jaime Jaquez Jr., the Grizzlies are trying to win games. Getting him at 7, I think, could be great value. Now the Rockets via Brooklyn's first-round pick. Could they turn Amin Thompson into more of a small forward? Maybe, but I like him there at the 1. So, you've got Fred VanVleet for 2 more years. You got Dylan Brooks for 3 more years after this. Jalen Green, we'll see what happens with him. But then you got Jabari Smith Jr., Amin Thompson, Alperen Sengun, Tari Eason, Cam Whitmore. So I think, I don't think they want to take another shot on like a guy that's going to develop. This is a team that, like the Thunder, moving forward, they're looking to start competing. So for me, it's either Kevin McCullough, Ryan Dunn, or Reed Sheppard, and I think I'm going to go Reed Sheppard here. The freshman for Kentucky, he does a little bit of everything, and yeah, 8 might be a little bit high, but he can really shoot it. He's just a winning player, and I think you take him, you can plug him into the next level. I mean, yeah, Ryan Dunn, Kevin McCullough would be cool. Maybe Reed Sheppard's going a little bit too high, but early on in the season, I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of the freshman from Kentucky. He's only 6'3", which is a bit concerning, but he can play defense. He's, more athletic than you may think, and he's really efficient. So I think at 9 or at 8 here for the Rockets, that's not that bad of a pick, maybe as you might think. Now, for the Hawks, who are kind of going into a little bit of a rebuild mode, they have a good offense. They don't have a great defense. So at 9, we're going to take a flyer on a guy that can really defend, but, he's not the most polished on the offensive side of the ball, and that's the reason that his draft stock is where it is right now. So Ryan Dunn, out of Virginia, as you can see here, he only averages 10 points per game, but 7 rebounds. He's super athletic, super long, and he can really come in and help out this Hawks defense right away. You compare him up with Jalen Johnson long-term, A.J. Griffin, Bogdanovich, we'll see what happens there, but he brings in another good defender that you can fit around Trae Young, especially with DeJounte Murray potentially being on the way out. So Ryan Dunn to the Hawks. Now at 10, we have the Blazers back again with Golden State's pick. And honestly, Ryan Dunn would have been a nice pick there. But, you start to look elsewhere, and this is kind of where it thins out. I mean, I'm kind of high on maybe like the top 10 or so guys, but Rob Dillingham kind of seems like the obvious pick here, but it is the Blazers. They have way too many guards. So we're going to go Mateus Buzelis here for them. A guy that can kind of do a little bit of everything, but he's still very raw, which is why he has dropped so far down. But, the Blazers, their team, they're not looking to win next year necessarily. They are more, on the longer-term timeline. So I think Mateus Buzelis would be a good fit in Portland. At 6'10", he can start to learn to play at that wing spot where they bring in Ron Holland. Now they also bring in Mateus Buzelis, already teammates in the G League Ignite. Now they can be teammates in Portland. You get that chemistry, 6'10", 208. I think he can be really good long term. Next, we have the Chicago Bulls with the 11th overall pick. I mean, I love Rob Dillingham here. Honestly, I'm just going to have to go Rob Dillingham because, actually, no. We're not going to go Rob Dillingham. I lied. Because they have Kobe White. Kobe White's their point guard of the future. And Zach LaVine is probably on the way out before long. At the deadline, potentially. However, his contract is huge. DeRozan, Zach LaVine, not going to be there much longer. So, with this pick, we're going to go ahead and take Stephon Castle, who I think can develop into a really, really good wing. He was a 5-star guard, one of the better players in last year's class. He has all the tools to be a good defender at 6'6", and I see him more of a 2 guard than a point guard. He's been injured, but now that he's back in the lineup, had 20 last night for UConn against who they played, Providence, and he was playing decent defense on Devin Carter, who was Providence's best player. So yes, Stephon Castle to the Chicago Bulls. Now at 12, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder, courtesy of Houston, who I think this pick is lottery protected or maybe is top 10 protected. But either way here, we're going to have them go out and get Kevin McCullough, a proven winner at the college level. He was not on that championship team. Yeah, so he was not on that championship team. He was at Texas Tech that year. However, he has transferred over. He was a freshman when Texas Tech made it to their national championship. And he transferred over to Kansas. Now he's putting up 20 points per game for Bill Self's squad. So I think he is a win-now wing, and you plug him into Oklahoma City, and you're looking good. Also, you could look at Donovan Clingan. I wouldn't even hate Donovan Clingan here. But you also have the next pick. So you know what? We're just going to take both of them. Not courtesy, but that's the good thing about having unlimited first-round picks is you also get Utah's first-round pick. You also have the 25th overall pick. So we're going to go Donovan Clingan as well, who is 7'2". He provides some beef. Chet Holmgren, kind of skinny. Donovan Clingan provides some physicality, some beef to come in there, and he can spell Chet Holmgren time to time. So, yeah, that's a couple of nice picks there. And then finally, we have the Pelicans, and I think this is where Rob Dillingham is going to end his fall. He's just that much better than anybody else really here on the board. Putting up 14 points in his freshman season at Kentucky, and he has shown some ridiculous flashes of playmaking. So yeah, that is the 1.0 lottery mock draft. I can see where Hawks fans might hate me for taking Ryan Dunn. I can see where Rockets fans might hate me for taking Reed Sheppard. But honestly, I feel like those are the two best players on the board at that point. It's not a very good draft class. Let me know your thoughts, though, down in the comment section below. If you did enjoy, make sure to like button and leave me a comment down below. Mock draft season, it's almost March Madness season. We'll be posting those March videos towards the end of the month. This should be a big time month for the channel, so hit that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications. We're going to try to post every day. Probably won't be able to just because of my basketball season and everything, but if you are enjoying, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll be back with more mock draft videos probably next month. But yeah, with that being said, thanks so much for watching today's video.